It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Hello to all. Welcome to Divas That Care Network. I am Joyce Benning, and I will be your host for this invigorating, robust lifestyle show. I want to thank each one of our listeners today for tuning in and the ones that will be listening on the podcast. I am so very grateful for each one of you. And I am just overly excited again today to have back with me my returning diva, Lori Murphy. And she is going to give us some updates on what is happening at Sugar Ditch Stables. And we are just excited to be speaking with Lori again. Lori, could you just introduce yourself and just kind of start telling us a little bit about what is all happening there at Sugar Ditch Stables in the last month?
Well, hi, Joyce. My name is Lori Murphy, as you know. Thank you for having me. We have had quite the busy month at Sugar Ditch Stables. Actually, some little bit of a sad note. Our big BLM Mustang, the wild Mustang that we had for years, just laid down and went to sleep. And so that was the first horse in 45 years of dealing with horses that I lost. So that was a shocker. With any pet, you know, especially ones that just the majestic, peaceful, my pals, you know, it was hard to deal with. So we've had a little bit of some issues this month, and we have a buckskin paint that we've had for about 15 years, and she's in her mid-20s, and Paisley was well in her 30s, so it was just it was age that she finally just said she's going to rest now. Right. But our Roxy, we couldn't figure out. I went to feed, and she hadn't eaten her dinner. So the next morning I went to feed her breakfast, and she hadn't eaten, and so I checked on her in her stall, and she was just kind of sitting, you know, standing in the corner, and she was drooling, and this was not normal for her. So I pulled her out of the stall and immediately had to call the vet because she almost looked like she had a stroke on her left side. And she couldn't blink, she couldn't move her ear, and her lip and everything was really drooping on one side. And so the vet came out and thought, you know, it was some kind of virus, or, you know, of course they did all the blood work and all the tests and everything, and cannot find anything wrong with her. Well, I was feeding her just to keep her hydrated and everything with a large syringe. And when she was chewing, I heard the strangest noise coming out of her ear. It literally sounded like a frog. And I recorded it. Yeah, and I recorded. I even went as far as checking. I was like, is there something in her ear? Well, what it is was two bones after lots of tests and everything. It's the bone right up near her ear, and what it looks like is she hit her head. There was no marks or anything on her. You know, we looked for spider bites. We looked for anything, and she's not in with other horses, so it wasn't you know, she didn't get kicked or anything. She got startled. I think we had a mountain lion come through here about the exact same time. And I don't know if she got startled in her stall window. You know, it's a metal gate that you can open and shut, and they can stick their heads out. It appears that she must have smacked her head on something like that. And what it did was it is attached to the jawbone, and there's all the nerves right there. And that's what they think, that she's got a little broken bone up there. And when she chews, you can hear it's like a grinding, it's loud coming out of her ear. Poor girl. So right now we're in the process of trying to save her left eye because she can't blink. It's you know, we have to lubricate it every couple hours, and she's getting a little bit unhappy with that. So it's a challenge. Is they're going, okay, come here, I got to do this again, you know. But luckily she's eating and drinking. I've had to I mix like alfalfa pellets and stuff like that with water, so it's easier for her to get down. She can't chew as good as she used to. So it's just, it's a challenge of the horse world, and unfortunately, it's hitting me all at once.
Girl.
So she's eating and drinking, and she's holding her own. So the vet was completely shocked at he could not figure out. And then when we heard the video when we recorded her ear, then we started putting it together, and that's what happened. So.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, girl.
Never a dull moment.
What? Wow. What that old saying, when it rains, it pours. Yeah.
That's a true statement.
Man. Oh, how sad. Well, I am so sorry about your Mustang because, wow. But, and that is the most peaceful way for him to go because that the spirit is always with you, as hard as it is, but he didn't have to suffer, and his spirits just left his body, and he crossed over, and the spirits ride with you everywhere you go, is how I always feel.
Absolutely. I haven't, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, because that was the first horse I lost, working a ranch and just staying so busy, you kind of just get calloused, as horrible as that sounds. You continue to have a herd to still can take care of. But, I don't know that it's hit me yet that she, that she's gone now, but it's a very, you learn to be a little callous, okay, it happens and you move forward, but, it's you never think you can get used to it or, adjust to it, but you really just have to keep going.
Right, because the other animals need you. They need you to be there to care for them. And as one once said, they always live in your heart. They're always right there. And their spirits are always right there helping you. But now this happened with Roxy, so you had to be there for Roxy, and the spirits of the Mustang were right there helping you with Roxy too, is how I always feel. They're right there looking over you, and Roxy was what came in then and needed your immediate attention. Wow.
Yes, and it keeps your mind busy, and it keeps you going, okay, on to the next. But I'm good now. They can all be healthy and just be horses right now. I don't need any more distractions from it, so
definitely.
Hopefully we'll be able to save her eye.
Yes. Well, and I can kind of relate. I took care of a girl's horse that for about a week, and I was having to doctor an eye off and on. So every few hours during the day, and oh my goodness, she was like, "Are you here again? Not again. Do you really have to do this?"
Yes, and when we go out to get Roxy, she's usually the first one that walks up to you. Not now, no. Makes you walk all the way out to get her. It's like, oh, come on. And then she'll have me follow her for a while, and I'm like, Roxy, I'm going to eventually catch you, so you're going to have to just stop. So, but when she's very, very, when she's uncomfortable or, she'll let you know, and I'm like, okay, I'll come back in a few minutes. Just work it out. I'll be back, because, she's still a big girl, so.
Oh, wow. Now, how long have you had Roxy? Have you had her since she was a young horse?
No, actually, she is, we've had her for, I got her for my daughter when she was 8 years old, when my daughter was 8 years old. So we've had her almost 15 years, I guess.
Wow.
So we've had her quite some time.
Yes, she's definitely part of the family. There's no doubt about that. She is your horse family. That's so true. Well, it is so good to hear that she is eating. It sounds like there is improvement there, and the bone do they feel that the bone will heal inside of there?
It can. They want to consider surgery, which they said because of her age, it's kind of high risk.
Yeah.
There's no guarantees, and it's very close to a main artery that if it shifts at any moment, she'll be done instantly. And I'm thinking, oh, no. When the vet says, if you go out there and she's gone, and I'm like, okay, you're the vet, can you fix it? He said it's a very tricky area, and it's not very common. And so, we can try it. And, my thing right now is I've kind of, okay, God, whatever, your will is done, so
yeah.
I don't, do I gamble with she might not make it through surgery, but she's doing pretty good right now. And if if she has to lose an eye, I have a horse that we've had for many years that is 49 years old, or going to be 49 years old, that was born blind. So I know for certain they can live with an one less eye, or even both.
Oh yes.
As long as she's comfortable. I'm not, she doesn't need to be ridden. She's kind of a retired, just a really, really friendly horse at her window. And she's a character. One gal came out one time with her kids and had never been around horses, and I really think Roxy knew, because she had her head out of her stall window, and the woman was standing there, and Roxy licked her face like a dog, just up her cheek. And the woman, all I could do, I was astonished that she did it, but the woman's face was, oh my gosh, you couldn't even describe it. She was so unsure of what just happened that, it was so comical. And every one of our horses are like that. They have their little quirky silliness, every single one of them. And hers, that was the little kids that were kind of timid and afraid of the horses because they were new to it. I mean, they thought that was the funniest thing ever. And all of a sudden, their fear went away. I'm like, they're just big dogs. That's all they are. None of them is going to hurt you. So, yeah, so she's a funny girl.
Oh, that is too cute of a story. That would have, how awesome. She was just telling her that it's all okay. I'm a big dog. I'm all right. I'm not going to hurt you.
Or she was teasing her because she was nervous, one or the other.
One of the two. She was either reassuring her or playing on it a little bit. Horses know.
A little bit.
They know immediately. They know before you even get there what kind of feelings there are there. Oh.
Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely.
That's what just incredible.
That's what I tell my students. I said the horse can tell. The horse knows.
Oh, yes.
So you gotta, if you have some fear, you gotta let it go before you get on them. You have to be the boss because they're big, and they need you to take control. So, pardon me, and so that's one of the things I teach the students is that the horse knows. So, if they're feeling uneasy or unsure, just walk it off and then get on. But as you're a horse owner, there's a love that you can't describe with these animals, and it's good and bad happens, but the joy of having them is just it's worth it. It's worth all of it. The hard work, the ups and downs, and my Texas, I have he's my best friend, and we've spoke about him before. He's just a big, giant, silly thoroughbred paint. And I've had him since he was 2.5, and he just turned 17. And he had bone disease at 4 years old. And he couldn't. It hurt him to be ridden. My choices were put him down or have the big giant dog. So I bought the ranch for him. So there's good and bad, and that was a really trying time because I came awfully close. Because at the time I didn't own the ranch. And he was being boarded, and I just, what do you do? And then you say, you just buy a ranch, put your best friend in his own place and let him just live out his life. And so he's this goofy, silly, this is the one that knows how to give you a kiss. And so there's good and bad. The good outweighs the bad, though, or the sad. It always does. So.
Oh, yes. Oh, how I agree. Yeah, there is, like you said, and I feel the same way, there is a love you cannot describe when you love horses. They're majestic, and they bring so much into your life. Having them as a horse family in your life is it's absolutely incredible. I don't know how else to describe it because I have 3 of them, and all 3 of them are totally different. My mare is going through some back issues right now we're dealing with. Not sure what she did. She she was kind of like your horse. She was fine the night before, and I came in the next morning to feed him, and she was hurting. I could tell it. She couldn't move real good, and she was hurting. So she had a couple discs out, and she's had a vertebrae in her neck out, and just some different things. And she's on the mend. But she is an incredible girl. She still shares her love with me. She shares it with the other horses. It doesn't stop her from continuing on with her life. For me, I think that is such a lesson that we learn from the horses. And just like your Roxy, it didn't stop her. She was still trying to keep going, and they do. They continue to keep moving forward. They're not stuck in that moment. They keep going. And it's something I really see in them. Do you see that, especially with what you are going through now with them?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And as a horse owner, you talk to them. I talk to my horses all day long when I'm out there working with them. And people will come up and go, "Who are you talking to?" I'm talking to the horses, and I'm talking to Roxy and saying, "You got two choices. You can lay down and die, or you can fight. So it's up to you." And so she chose to keep moving, And so she still every one of my horses I can look at them and immediately know. It's the strangest thing. I never thought it would be like, growing up with them and stuff. But when you're around them, if something is off just a little bit, I can watch them take a step and go, "Oh, that's a colic step there," just from a distance. And people go, "How do you know that?" Because they're family. I mean, when your children are sick or something's not right, and with Roxy, she's she wants to be like seriously in your lap, but she also wants to be left alone. So she's trying, but she's trying to figure out what's going on with her. And I pulled her out day before yesterday, and her footing was off. And I said, "You know what? I'm going to put her back in," because first she was very nervous, and you could tell, and then she couldn't get her feet under her, she was just kind of wobbly. And I said, "We're just going to do this right here." And so to just know them and know when, okay, you know what, you're my human, but you need to back up right now. You can tend to them, but they know how to, in the wild, they take care of themselves. And so as long as she's eating and drinking, that's the main thing. As long as she's getting water, she's, and, I noticed another thing. She has an automatic waterer in her stall, and I seen her drinking out of it. But a couple of days later, I said, "She looks a little dehydrated." Well, I had to bring a big trough out because she won't go back in her stall.
My. Yeah.
So something scared, she's remembering what happened, something hurt her in there. So she's, now she's just kind of staying out. She has a box stall plus a run, and then hers goes off into a pasture. And so she stays out in the pasture, which is, it's close so that, I can see her stuff. But the other horse knows, it's incredible. These animals are incredible. And, I'm a lucky girl, good or bad. So.
Well, I feel the same way. I mean, I praise the Lord every day for my animals, because they're just a blessing in my life, and I feel very blessed to have I've always had horses in my life. They've always been a huge part of my life, and it's just incredible. And like you said, she doesn't want to go in her stall now because something bad happened in there, and they remember that. They do not forget those kind of experiences. So, but you, like you said, you're in tune enough. You noticed that she wasn't drinking out of that water to be able to make sure she had water outside at that point then. So, you really notice it. Well, during all of this, you sound very positive about everything. How do you keep that positive attitude when there are things like this that are happening around you? What is your answer to help stay positive during these kind of times, Lori?
Well, I pray a lot. My relationship with God is very good. I do kick the dirt a lot. I do. I'm not even going to lie about that. I get frustrated, but you know, you can only do one day at a time. Absolutely. You just, okay, all right, next. Let's keep going, because I have so much stress in my life that it's a sink or swim. And then just like I told Roxy, you can lay down and die or you can keep going. Well, you got two choices. There is. You can give up or you can keep going. That's kind of how, you know, everything will turn out. You just got to get through some of the bumps in life. And, you know, so you just kind of just keep on swimming. I think it was in a cartoonism, just keep on swimming. And, you know, pretty soon the bad, and then you can think of all the good, like with Paisley, you know. That was the first time one of my horses laid down and died in my entire life. And I have had dozens of horses and have been so fortunate that either, you know, what I was really attached to would move on to, I would give it to a student or something, or, you know, so give it to a friend or something, you know, something like this. And so I hadn't had to deal with the first hand. And one of my very first horses that I earned, I think I told, you know, I've shared with you, that was taken in the night. That one stung. That stung, but she was still alive. I just didn't know where she was. That one hurt, and I just got away from horses for a couple of years. But that was a depressing time to get away from horses. You just need the horse, but you just really, it's just, you just got to keep positive. You have, you know, I have 7 other horses. That horse is not ever going to hurt, never going to worry. She's just going to be running. So, and she's free again. You know, she was, like I said, she was the Bureau of Land Management Mustang. So she was born in the wild. So she's back to where she's running. So you just really, it's one day at a time, and have my faith in God. I don't, you know, you just keep going. Smiling helps. Just smile. It'll pass. Everything passes, you know. So, and again, when you're feeling it, just go out and kick some dirt around. You'll feel better, and, you know, mumble and talk to the horses. That's what I do. They know the many moods of Miss Lori. So, well, and they can tell when I walk up what kind of day I'm having.
I always say my animals know me better than anybody else, because they're the ones I talk to and tell everything.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think sometimes mine think I'm a little kind of crazy, but, you know, it's really nice, because some of them will whinny back, and, you know, and I go, oh, really? You know? So, yeah, you have to be kind of crazy in life these days to get through it, but laughing helps. Yes.
Smiling and laughing definitely helps. And, like, I know I lost a 34-year-old horse, and I have to rather than think about losing him, I know he's still with me in spirit. And I also am so grateful for the years that I got to spend with him, that he was in my life and part of my family, and all the memories he gave me. I mean, I always think, okay, when you think things hit, then you got to start thinking of gratitude. What am I grateful for, rather than concentrating on the bad that we feel is happening, rather to look at the positive of being grateful. That is another place that I like to go, is into gratitude. And like you said, you have your other horses. How grateful that you have the other horses. And that's me. How grateful I am to have them. So that is so
true.
Yeah. Oh, you feel the same way too, Lori. Oh, that's awesome.
Gratitude changes your entire gratitude changes your attitude, and it really makes, and that's one way to stay positive, is just think of, wow, the time I had with her, the hundreds and possibly thousands of kids that I taught how to ride on that Mustang. And that Mustang and I worked some long days, and she was one that would grab my sleeve when she was done. She's like, I'm tired. I'm like, so am I. Let's go in, you know. So, you know, and it's really funny. I don't know, a lot of people that don't have horses, they can't understand the connection and the relationship you have with them, because I can be out working with horses and they'll treat the children always very respectful and always careful. But to me, they're like, hey, look, I'm tired. They communicate with me completely different than they do anybody else. They come to me when there's a problem. They come to me when, hey, it's treat time. It's I have a different relationship than they do with the kids that are out riding them. So, yeah, I absolutely love them. And to know that I had her for the time I did, to even say I had a wild Mustang that was so incredible, that helps a lot. I have so many great memories.
That's awesome. Well, I agree with you. That's where I go when you start to feel a little down. I keep a gratitude journal, and I'm going, okay, it's time to go right in there.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, so true.
I love what you said. Gratitude changes your attitude, and just four simple words that mean so much. Oh, that's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Well, Lori, this interview has gone so quickly. Again, the updates you've given us and the great inspiration you've shared with us. Is there something special you would like to leave with the listeners today?
Yes, keep on swimming. There's good days, there's bad days, but there'll be more good than bad. So just keep working through them. And the gratitude journal is so incredible. It only takes writing down 3 things you're thankful for, and it's so easy to do. I started out with 100 things a day, and it's kind of challenging to write down 100 things you're thankful for, but it changes your entire perspective of how your day is going to go. So when things are rough, you just take a glance around your surroundings and go, look, I'm grateful for this, this, and this, and your entire mood will change.
Yes. Those were some excellent tips to leave with our listeners today, and I agree 100% because my gratitude journal is very important to me. It totally changes your attitude, no doubt about it. Well, Lori, I want to thank you so very much for being my guest today on this Robust Lifestyle Show and sharing your information, and we will definitely keep Roxy in our thoughts and prayers for healing and sending healing energies and healing vibes her way. Definitely.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me, and I look forward to many more conversations.
Oh, yes, definitely, and you are so welcome, and me the same. I always love talking to you, so we will definitely connect again in September. Awesome.
All right.
And I want to thank all of our guests for listening to this incredible interview with Lori Murphy of Sugar Ditch Stables. Please be sure and share this with all your friends and family, and check out all the other hosts on divasthatcare.com and watch their shows also. Remember, have a fantastic day. Be kind to all. And remember, gratitude does change your attitude. Give your animals a great big hug and share your love with them. Until we connect again on Robust Lifestyles, stay strong and healthy.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.